All right, today we're headed to Croatia's incredible coast, to a city that's, well, it's completely unique. We're talking about Split. And this is a place where history isn't just something you see in a museum. Nope. It's in the walls of the homes people live in, the cafes they hang out in. It's everywhere.
So let me ask you something. What if a city's past wasn't locked away behind glass in some stuffy museum? What if you didn't just visit history, but you actually lived inside of it? Well, in Split, that's not some crazy hypothetical question. It's just everyday life.
And that's really the heart of it all. You've got people who have literally built their lives into the structure of a massive Roman palace that's over 1,700 years old. I mean, you can grab a coffee right where an emperor used to walk. So, the big question is, how on earth did an emperor's private fortress become a bustling, living city? Well, that's the incredible story we're going to dive into.
Okay, so let's set the scene. We're going way back to around 305 AD. The Roman Emperor Diocletian, a pretty powerful guy, decides he's had enough of ruling and it's time to retire. But, this is a Roman emperor we're talking about. His retirement plan wasn't exactly going to be a quiet little cottage. Oh no. He commissioned an absolutely colossal palace right on the coastline where he grew up.
But honestly, calling it just a palace doesn't even begin to do it justice. Think bigger. This thing was basically a self-contained world. It was part fortress, part luxury villa, and part military base, all rolled into one. It was a massive statement piece, a monument to Roman order, symmetry, and raw power.
And the design itself, it was just genius. First, you've got these massive fortress walls, some of them up to 20 meters high, for total protection. Inside, everything was laid out on a strict military grid. Straight streets, right angles, total order. The southern half, facing the sea, that was for Diocletian's super luxurious private apartments, decked out with imported marble. And the northern half, that was the functional part, for all the soldiers and the staff. It was this perfect blend of opulence and military muscle.
Okay, so the emperor has his palace. But this is where the story takes a huge, dramatic turn. Diocletian dies, and over time, the Roman Empire starts to crumble. Chaos starts spreading across the region. And this incredible palace, well, it's about to get a whole new life that no one could have ever predicted.
So, fast forward to the 7th century. Invaders are sacking nearby Roman cities, and people are literally running for their lives. And where do they go? They find refuge in the one place strong enough to keep them safe, the now abandoned but still incredibly strong walls of Diocletian's palace. All of a sudden, this symbol of imperial power becomes a fortress for sheer survival. I mean, think about that shift. It's just radical. The whole purpose of the building flipped. It went from being a home for one all-powerful emperor to a shelter for thousands of everyday people. And they didn't tear it down. No way. They adapted it. Grand imperial halls were carved up into small homes. Those wide corridors, they became the city's new streets. But maybe the single most powerful symbol of this whole transformation has to do with Diocletian himself. Get this, Diocletian was famous for persecuting Christians. So what happens centuries later? The new citizens of Split take his personal tomb, his mausoleum, and turn it into a Christian cathedral, the Cathedral of St. Domnius. It's one of the oldest cathedrals in the world, and it's a new faith literally built right on top of the remains of its old enemy. You just can't make this stuff up. And the story doesn't stop there, not even close. The birth of the city was just the first layer. For the next 1,000 years, every new power that came along, we're talking Venetians, Austrian, you name it, they all added their own architectural stamp. It's like they were all having a conversation, written in stone, right on top of the old Roman foundations. And what's so cool is that you can literally see this conversation as you walk through the city. You've got the Romanesque period with its heavy defensive stone buildings, then boom, the Gothic style arrives with pointed arches and taller windows, bringing more light into these narrow streets. After that, the Venetians show up and add these elegant, fancy facades. And finally, in the 19th century, the Austrians bring their orderly style and start the first real expansion outside the palace walls. It's like walking through a living, breathing architectural textbook. Which brings us all the way to today, because this story is absolutely still unfolding. Modern Split has this really unique challenge, right? It has to figure out how to be a normal, functioning city while also being a perfectly preserved ancient monument. How do you balance that? Just let this number sink in for a second. Over 1,700 years.
That's how long people have been continuously living inside these same ancient walls. Living, working, raising families, everything. It is just a staggering testament to human resilience and our ability to adapt. And you really feel this contrast in the city today. Inside the old walls, it's all about preserving this incredible history, managing tourism, and dealing with that spontaneous organic growth. But you step just outside those walls, and you're in a modern city with urban planning and all the focus is on growth and contemporary life. It's like two different worlds living right next to each other, separated by nothing more than that ancient Roman stone.
And this quote just nails it perfectly. Split is not a city with ruins. Split is the ruin, still breathing. It's not about looking at some old rocks cordoned off. The entire old city is the ruin, and it's a living, breathing thing that's still changing every single day.
You know, the story of Split really makes you rethink what preservation even means. It shows us that history doesn't have to be something that's frozen in time, kept under glass. It can be the very foundation we build our modern lives on. And that kind of leaves you with a final thought, right? It makes you wonder, if you really look, what stories are the buildings in your own town trying to tell?